Hello everybody, Carolina Tony here, coming to you today from the Huntsville Space Center. And we're here to explore, and we're going to do that right after this station identification. Here is the grave of one Miss Baker. It was a squirrel monkey, was born in 1957, and she died November the 29th, 1984. She was the first animal to fly in space and return alive. And hey, right next to her is Big George, Miss Baker's husband. He died in 1979 at age 16. Very beginning of space exploration, wasn't sure whether to send humans into space, but they did send monkeys. And it worked. And monkeys paved the way for men. Because of space exploration, a lot of things have been invented that has helped us in everyday life. And this is the inventor's room. This is a blood sugar concentration measurer. There's a robotic arm type thing, a composite gas tank, water purification system, a space blanket made from Malar. Just all types of inventions made possible from space research. Pretty interesting. This is called a sight switch. This switch on the glasses allows the glasses wearer to use their eye position and movement to communicate by the way of a switching system in the glass that detected variations reflected in infrared light. Pretty cool. But some say, why the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago fly the Atlantic? Entering this space race, who's going to be first to the moon? Spacesuit that was used by Yuri Gagarin on his historic first flight to orbit the Earth. A Russian cosmonaut.
Instead, 500 million people gathered at TV sets around the world to wait.
Old appliances. I'm old enough to remember the front page headlines, Man on the Moon. I am on the lunar rover. Prototype of the lunar rover that actually drove around on the moon. How about that? When I visited Kennedy Space Center in Florida, I talked about how they were made molds of the astronauts' hands so they were able to get a perfect fit for their gloves. Apollo gloves as well as boots. The suit here was worn by Apollo 7 astronauts. Here are some spacesuits kind of the evolution of taking high altitude suits for planes and adapted them into actually liquid cooled spacesuits. Here is some old newspaper and magazine ads back before the space race. Hey, I'm on the moon, in the moonwalk. Here are some U.S. Army suits or clothing, uniforms, but check out the warrior of the future. I want that. That is so cool. I guess my chance of getting on a flight simulator will be slim to none.
This is the Orion space capsule.
So this is the Orion space capsule.
And this would be docked on top of the SLS rocket.
Right.
So the rocket they were hoping.
This is full scale?
This, I'm not for sure. I couldn't tell you.
But this is used for space camp.
Yes, sir.
And these kids learn how to fly rockets.
Depending on what program they're on.
Yeah.
We have a robotics program for the campers.
Here, Christina Cook. She is on the space station right now. She went up in March.
Yes, sir.
And won't be back down until February.
February 2020.
Wow. These are graduates from the space camp here in Huntsville, Alabama. So never goes to show you, if you come to space camp, you might get a good job. Here in Huntsville, Alabama, they monitor the operations of the International Space Station, right here in Alabama. These kids that come to space station, they get to have a blast. This is kind of what it would be like to be inside of the space station. Some of the foods that they would eat. To be honest with you, it doesn't look too appetizing. I don't think you're going to get fat off of it. Oh, I know what this is. This is the potty. We are roaming around inside of a full-scale model of the International Space Station. And this is so cool. That is a Nikon camera exactly like mine. So my camera's been to space. How cool. I've got to have me one of those helmets. That looks like Iron Man. This is the first space shuttle Enterprise right there. It actually never flew in space, but it was strapped to the back of an airplane and released just to test landings and see if everything would work right, and it did. And then the next step was to actually go into space. It was mounted on the back of this huge rocket with the orange part in the center. That's just fuel. T-38 Talon supersonic jet was used to train astronauts. This baby would go 812 miles an hour. That's fast. Here is a Saturn V rocket.
Because y'all keep asking.
This is a CH-47D Chinook helicopter. Skylab was America's first homestead in space. It was occupied from May the 25th, 1973 to February the 8th, 1974, and it held 3 separate astronaut crews, performed all type of experiments, and it re-entered the Earth's atmosphere on July the 11th, 1979, where it broke apart, scattered all over Australia, and they say one of the largest pieces is here. I'm not sure if this is it or not. If you look right here in this Saturn rocket where it says United States, there would be something inside of that. And here's a section of it laying down. And right here, you can see what's inside. A section of Skylab. All tucked up in there. This little submarine is a 2-person submarine, was used by the Army to locate parts of the Saturn rocket where it would fall off into the ocean. This is a Mercury prototype, Mercury space capsule. Here's a Gemini. This is a trainer here. I am on a tight schedule, so I'm just kind of breezing through this thing. Here is a rocket engine. It's called the V2.
3, 2, 1, ignition.
This is the mobile quarantine facility that was used for the astronauts that were on Apollo 12. Here is the lunar excursion module, as well as the lunar rover. This is the actual Apollo 16 command module. This was called Casper. It first flew to the moon and back on April 16, 1972. A Saturn V rocket put it into space, and inside the astronauts were John Young, Thomas Ken Mattingly, and Charles Duke, and returned to Earth safely 11 days later with 208 pounds of moon rock. This is an actual Apollo 12 moon rock. They say it is 3.16 billion years old, weighs 15.9 ounces. See where it's been sawn in half. You see where some of it's been burnt off, entering the Earth's atmosphere. Some of it's protected shield. Here's some more space food. There's scrambled eggs and bacon bars. Here we go. Beef with vegetables. And this is a fecal collection assembly. Now, this is something you don't see every day, and I'm gonna let you just guess what that's used for. Thank you. that is going to end our tour of the U.S. Space and Rocket Center here in Huntsville, Alabama. I want to thank you for joining me. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to go down here and click subscribe. After that, ring the bell. You'll be notified every time we put a video out. It's been fun, but for now, y'all have a good day.